All right, we're live now, guys. Thank you. I finally got this corrected. Welcome to the channel, guys. If you're new to the channel, thank you, guys. Make sure you've subscribed. Click the bell. The bell sends you the notifications for when I do these videos for free every single day. This is our watch list for Friday, August 11th. We use the strategy called the Strat, created by RIP Rob Smith. It's probably the best, by far the best strategy that I've ever come across as a trader. And I would recommend it to anyone, and that's why I teach it. That's why I have the channel. That's why I've got the Twitter channel and the Discord for all of you guys. Let's get started on this list. Before we do, I want to go through one quick thing. TradingView. That's the screen that you see here. If you are looking to day trade or swing trade, or you don't need it for investing, but trading in general, you're going to need a setup like this screen here. Okay, so what I've done is I put a link in the description below. That link will give you a free 30-day trial to TradingView. And if you decide to end up using TradingView, it used to be a $30 discount. It might be $15, I don't recall, but you do get a discount by clicking on that link and signing up there if you've never used TradingView before. So go ahead and take advantage of that free offer for you guys. Now let's get started on this list. I'm going to start with a doozy, a little bit of a banger in INTC. So we'll go through some of the basics as we do in most videos for anybody who's new, because we do get a lot of new people to the Strat and a lot of people who are just interested in how the strategy works. So we're going to go through the list and some of the nuances and what the strategy really is. So with the Strat, there's three types of candlesticks. There's an inside bar or a one bar. You can see these candlestick numbers here. That's part of an indicator that I've created for you guys. So it comes with that indicator, as does time frame continuity, which we'll talk about later. But we have a one bar or an inside bar. It's a consolidating candle. It doesn't break the high or the low of this previous candle, just like this inside bar didn't break the high or the low of the previous candle. So when we have inside bars, what we're looking for, I always tell people, so you notice the inside bars are painted yellow. That is part of my indicator. Paints those inside bars yellow for you. It paints the outside bars or the three bars white. We'll talk about those as well. The inside bar, when you see that yellow candle, I want you guys to think of a spring. Be compacted, squished, and loaded. Squeezed. Okay? And when you take the pressure off of that spring, what we expect is a big break to the upside or the downside of that bar. So we can go back and look in time like we have in the past on every other video. We look at this inside bar and it breaks to the downside. We get a big run off of there. So what I'm going to do now is, you see this blue highlight, that's telling me that there's a double inside bar here. Okay, and so that's also part of my indicator. And these indicators work on every single time frame, on every different ticker. Okay, so if we go back in time and look for the last time we had a blue bar or a double inside bar, they're very rare. They don't happen very often. We'll see how far we have to go back to get there, and there it is. Okay, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. So this was back in July of 2022, over a year ago, the last time we had a double inside bar in INTC. So what we are looking for is a trigger or a break to the high side of this inside bar or the low side of this inside bar. And we broke to the low side and we hit multiple targets. This is exactly what we look for. And we can look for these setups on all kinds of time frames. It doesn't matter if you're looking at it on the daily, the hourly, the 30, the 15, the 5. You can look at these setups on any time frame and play the strat or the strategy in that manner. Okay, so we'll go back to the start to this current double inside bar. And so what we're looking for here is calls off of the break of this inside bar at 35.09. And the first target is really not great at 35.10. So we're going to put a second target in there, which is also at 35.10. We're going to actually move that up then. And my targets are always painted green. My triggers are always yellow. Okay, so that becomes realistically our first target at 35.55 to the top side. And if we're looking for this to trend down, we're looking for puts at 34.48. First target at 34.23. So the double inside bar, essentially we're still looking at an inside bar, but we do have 2 straight days of consolidation. So it does add up, and it basically is, it's compounding, and it doesn't know which direction it's going to go, and we're waiting for that explosion. Okay, so we'll move on to target. So we talked about the inside bars. Now we've got a 2 bar. So there are 2 kinds of 2 bars. There's a 2 up and a 2 down. A 2 up, this candle right here, only breaks the high of the previous candle. A 2 down only breaks the low of the previous candle. So this is our 2 down. This was a previous candle. We only broke to the downside. And while we're here, we'll talk about those 3 bars I mentioned, painted white for ease of use and sight. The 3 bar breaks both the high and the low. So the 1 bar is an inside bar, doesn't break either side of the previous candle. A 3 bar breaks both sides of the previous candle. And then the 2 bars, whether it's a 2 down, only breaking the low of the previous candle, or a 2 bar up, 2 up, only breaks the high of the previous candle. So I told you we're going to talk about time frame continuity. We're going to do that with Target. So yesterday, we talked about Target having a 2 up that finished red. And when we have those setups, the 2 ups that finish red, not green, it tells me there's a higher probability that this is going to trend to the downside. So we're looking for a 2 up red to trend back down. It doesn't always happen that way, just like it didn't happen here. We trended back to the upside. We have that same setup again. 2 up red, kind of a shooter candle, but not really. We'll get into those a little bit later. So the 2 up red, we're looking for puts. The other thing that we have here is time frame continuity. So if you guys don't know what time frame continuity is, go onto my YouTube channel. I'm going to see if we have it here. I don't have it loaded. So go onto my YouTube channel and search in the playlist. You can look for, or in the videos, you can look for TFC or time frame continuity, either one of those two. And that video for time frame continuity will come up and explain to you what time frame continuity is, because not a lot of people discuss it, not a lot of people talk about it, but it's very key in this strategy and realistically for any strategy to know which direction the market is moving. So what these tell us are on the hourly, the H, the D is the daily, the week is W, M monthly, Q quarterly, and Y yearly. And the red arrows to the downside are telling me that every one of these time frames is pointing down. There's sellers right across the board. So that gives me a very high probability that this is going to trend down tomorrow. So we look for the trigger for puts at 130.52, first target at 130.26. It's just the lowest wick of the previous candle, okay? So the next target would be here. We're going to move on to WFC, Wells Fargo. I'm just going to move this trigger down. But the same idea. So we have that 2 up that finished red. Time frame continuity is fairly strong outside of the quarter and the year. And we have a 2 up that finished red. So realistically, this is called a 1-2-2 rev strat because we have the 1 bar preceding it. So it's a 1-2-2 rev strat. Realistically, all we're looking for here is a 2-2 reversal. We can look for the puts at 43.62. That's that yellow line. If you follow this across to the right side, there's the dollar values I'm calling out. You have a first target and a second target, and then you have this purple line. That purple line represents the 3-month trigger. Okay, so if we go to the 3-month chart and we look at it, there was an inside bar on that 3-month chart. We've trended up, and now we've started to come back down through it on that 3-month. Does it mean we're going to go outside bar? It doesn't. It could, but we're not even close to being there yet. So that's what that purple bar represents. We move on to the diamonds. Same thing. 2 up finished red. Really good time frame continuity. So we can look for puts here at 351.19. Same thing on BIDU. Time frame continuity, staying consistent with everything else. Look for puts there at 143.45. And then again, the first target just moves to the bottom of the preceding wick. On to Pfizer. So Pfizer had an inside bar today. We barely broke up to the upside and then came back down. So we have a 2 up finished red. Outside of the week, we've got full time frame continuity. So I would look for this to trend back to the downside with triggers at 35.60 and your first target at 35.51. Now, we go through these on the daily chart. It doesn't mean you guys have to do these setups exactly the same. You guys could go to the 15-minute chart and you could look at something like this, okay? And you could look for a reversal here. Just like there was an inside bar here, and then we took that 1-2 reversal, okay? So inside bar, we were looking for a break of either side. We trended down. You can do that. Okay, you don't have to be marking these off of the daily chart. Okay, you can go down to a smaller time frame, but then manage on a smaller time frame even further. So again, if you go look at any of my short videos that I've got, it'll show you exactly how I trade, how I set my triggers and targets, and how I manage on an even smaller time frame from there. We move on to EW. So I told you I would talk about the 3 actionable signals: hammer candles, shooter candles, and inside bar. So the Strat has what's called 3 actionable signals: the inside bar, which you see here, the hammer candle, and the shooter candle, which you also see here. So a shooter candle is the opposite of a hammer. So it's got this body at the bottom with a wick to the top that's at least 2 times the size of the body. Also an actionable signal. The hammer candle is the inverse of this, where you have the body at the top and the big long wick to the bottom. Now those tell us that there's a high probability of these trades working out. The shooter candle is a bearish pattern. The hammer candle is a bullish pattern. This is a hammer candle right here, bullish pattern. Okay, trended up, took out the first gap, and that's about it. Okay, so we have an inside bar, shooter candle. We're going to look for this to trend down. Doesn't mean it will. We've got the majority of time frame with us. If this trends down, we've got everything except the year, because this daily candle, if it trends down, will turn red. So we can look for puts at 77.94, and first targets, bottom of the preceding wick. If it trends up, top of the preceding wick, and then we do this. Bottom of the preceding wicks until the gap is filled. There's no candles in between here. Okay, so we need to fill that gap. Those gap fills become the next targets. We'll move on to Apple. So Apple has a 3-1 setup, outside bar, inside bar. You notice again, it's painted yellow because they don't happen very often. They're very rare. Here's another double inside bar that worked out really well over, a 4-day span. Another inside bar, double inside bar that worked out really well. But we're going to look for the last 3-1 setup that there was. So we go look in the gold, and we gapped up. But this continued to trend up. So it was a big, big move. I'm going to look for one more here. And again, this one gapped down. So if you guys want to know how to play gaps, I posted a video on Twitter yesterday with a link. But again, you can go into my YouTube channel and search gaps. I've got a 4-series playlist on how to play gaps. Okay, so we are looking for a break of this 3-1 bar tomorrow. Doesn't always work out. We're based off of probability, as we've talked over and over in length about, because probability is what every strategy is based on when you're trading, because no one knows what the next candlestick is going to be. We don't know if this is going to be a 2 up, a 2 down, or stay inside bar. We just don't. But we base it off of probability, and then once we go in force, meaning we trigger either one of these sides, that's where the action starts happening. Okay, so we're going to move on to Adobe. Adobe has a 2 up that finished red. We're going to talk about this a little bit more as well, because there's a pink line here. Adobe had the 2 up that finished red, so we're going to look for puts here. Once we trigger at 512.98, I would be looking at 513 strike or maybe a 512 strike on Adobe. I take 1 or 2 strikes out, and that's just how I play it, and I'm a 0 DTE guy. You guys don't have to be. You can buy some time on it, but I'm only realistically in a trade for 15 or 20 minutes. I had one today that was about 3 minutes. I'll probably do a video on it later tonight. It was on SPY. I did 26% in about 6 minutes. I don't really recall how long the trade was, but it was in that time frame. So 6 minutes in and out and 26%, and I'm done for the day. Okay, so I talked about this pink line here. That pink line represents my weekly trigger. So if we go to the weekly on Adobe, we had a 2 up that finished red, which we talked about earlier. We broke to the downside. We've hit targets, and then we reversed. But we are still 2 down on the week, okay? And we are still through our trigger on the week. So that's telling me that there's more potential for a downside move on Adobe. We'll see if we hit that tomorrow. We move on to AMD, 2 up red, close to a shooter candle, really good time frame continuity, so we can look for the puts at 109.47. We have that blue monthly trigger as well that we've already broken through to the downside and haven't hit targets yet. So that's something to take into account as well when we're looking at AMD. We move on to BA, 2 up red. So again, we had the 2 up red here yesterday on Boeing. We didn't break to the downside, or sorry, a 2 up green, and it trended up. My bad. So, oh no, that's what we're looking at. 2 up red. We were looking for the trigger to the downside, and it continued again to go 2 up, but finished red. Okay, and we're starting to thin out here. We have these doji candles with the big long wicks on either side. This was a big bullish sign here, this big green candle. Then we had another one that came up, but these wicks to the top side, there's selling pressure there. So what that's telling me is despite it being 2 up red, there's potential for this to come back down to the downside. Okay. We move on to Google. Google had a 2 up red, so we'll look for puts there at 130.04. We're still stuck in an inside bar on Google. I know this because I've got these 2 pink lines here, and the yellow circle on my time frame continuity indicator is telling me that. So if I go to the week, we were working on an inside bar. We are currently inside bar. And if this doesn't break tomorrow, we're going to look for a double inside bar going into next week. So that'll be important to watch for a really big move from Google leading into next week. We move on to Coca-Cola, 2 up red. We look for the puts there at $60.79. You notice the purple line at the bottom. Okay, we've already broken through to go 2 down on the 3-month chart. Okay, so we'll pay attention to that one as well as it develops throughout the next few months to see if we can recapture that trigger. IBM, inside bar, so we can look for the calls here at 144.58 or puts at 142.69. 2 down green. So this is the opposite of what we've been looking at. Lyft has a 2 down green, so we're going to look for calls on Lyft. Get rid of that. Calls on Lyft at $11.18, and we're going to put a first target there at $11.52 on Lyft. The Metaverse, inside bar, calls at 312.34, puts at 303.87. Time frame continuity outside of the quarter and the year, pointing to the downside. If you guys have questions, comments, leave them in the live chat. If you're watching this as a recording, please leave your comments down below. It helps these videos to get out, to share the information that Rob has so graciously created for us for free. And me and other people are giving back just like we are now with these free videos and learning tools, okay? So comment down below if you're watching this after and there's an ad. It helps to pay for this stuff. So thank you guys for watching those ads. Helps to pay for my time when I do these free videos for you guys. Thank you. Moderna, here's a good one. Okay, so we're 2 up red on Moderna. We've got full time frame continuity. No problem, Marlon B. You're very welcome. So when we're looking at setups, guys, and I give top 5s out to my Griswold Gold members. They're part of the Discord. The Discord is free to join, guys. There's a ton of stuff in there for you guys for free. But there is a gold membership. There's a paid membership portion. It's $50 a month. You get a 1-hour strat course. You get one-on-one time with me through Google Meets. You get live trading bots. You get the top 5 setups here. Okay, and a bunch of other stuff. 1-hour course is really, really important. You're not going to find a strat course for cheaper than that. I'm not in this to make a buck. I'm just in it to pay for my time, realistically. So this would be on my top 5. It's one of my top 5 setups. So we have a 2 up that finished red. We've got full time frame continuity going to the downside. And we're already in a downtrend on the month. Okay, so if we look at the month, we've crashed on the monthly on Moderna. We look at the 3-month chart, that purple line, or the yearly chart, sorry, this orange line here. We've crashed through that. So we're 2 down on the year. We're 2 down on the month. We look at the week. We're 2 down on the week as well. So we're going to look for a continuation here with full time frame continuity right across the board for Moderna to continue its downward spiral. We look at Microsoft, and a lot of the tech stuff has been coming down, and you can see where that sector rotation is happening, where it's tech had a really, really strong run for the last little while, and now we're starting to come back down a little bit. So Microsoft 2 up red. We're going to look for puts there at 321.18. Netflix inside bar shooter candle. So we can look for the puts there at 428.69. First target's marked out. And again, time frame continuity pushing towards the downside on that one. Nike 2 up red. We look for the puts there at 108.52. Oracle 3-1 setup. Last time we had a 3-1 setup, we had a nice little run here. There's an outside bar, inside bar, gold bar setup. Okay, so we break through to the downside, hit targets, and reverse. It did its job. The candlesticks are always going to tell you guys a story, and they all have a job. And as you learn this stuff more and more, you're going to learn what those stories are. So that inside bar was just saying, like, listen, if we break the high, there's an opportunity for you to trade with targets. If we break the low, there's an opportunity for you guys to trade with targets. This is what the strat does better than most strategies, guys. It gives you a place to get out, okay? You hit those targets and it reverses through, get out. And I'm not talking about just the daily chart. I'm talking about on any time frame, okay? If you're trading on the 15-minute, on the 5, if you're managing on the 5, if those candlesticks reverse in the opposite direction of your trade, that's your signal to get out. Doesn't matter if it runs 100%. Take your money, okay? The small wins, those 26 percenters that I was getting, yeah, on a $100 trade, it might suck and it might not sound like a lot. But as you go through time and through trades and gain the experience and grow your account, that $100 trade that you guys are putting money into is going to turn into $1,000 trade, and that 26% is going to turn into $260. And then you're going to be able to do it with $2,000, and that $260 win is going to be a $520 win, and you're not going to have to make another trade for the rest of the day. Maybe for some of you, not for the rest of the week, okay? That's how this stuff works. It's compounding. You guys need to realize the idea of compounding, and it's not 1,000% winner and you're off to the races. Those don't happen. They're few and far between. There's a guy in our room, and he's consistently putting up trades that are 20 to 70%, and that's what he's taking. He's taking what the market's giving him. And if you can consistently do that, if you took 10% a day, and that doesn't take much to get 10% on a trade, but people get greedy. But if you could take 10% a trade and trade with $100 every single day, okay, you're doubling that $100 every 2 weeks. Okay, so in a month, your 100 turns to 300. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. It's compounding, and you really have to understand that and really try and take the emotions, the big emotions, out of trading, because they'll overwhelm you and they'll make you deviate from your rules and the strategy that you're looking at. Okay, so let's move on to Palantir. Really tight inside bar here. Time frame continuity to the downside. So I would be looking for puts here more likely than calls, but it could go either way. We can look for the puts at 15.25 and the calls at 15.87. We move on to PayPal, inside bar. So again, here's that inside bar that I was talking about for the most of the video, where we have the break and we hit targets, and if I go back in time, maybe there's another target there. But it did its job. The candlestick told you the story. It did its job. We're going to see if it'll do the same thing tomorrow. Inside bar, calls at 63.05, puts at 62.08. I lost my spot. There we go. On to Roblox, RBLX, another inside bar. So calls at 31.17, puts at $30. SE, 2 up red. We're going to look for this to trend down. We've got time frame continuity in our favor. We'll look for the puts there at 56.80. And then we look at Uber here, the 3-1 setup. Last time we had a 3-1 on Uber. Again, these are not very common patterns, these 3-1 setups. You have to go back in time to find these. And we had a gap up here. So again, you want to know how to play the gaps? I've got the videos for you. But we had a gap up, and then it trended down. I'll look for one more. And I'm glad that one didn't work out, because that just shows you that everything is based off of probability. We don't know. Here's one that did work out, okay? We triggered and we hit targets, and then we reversed through that target. You should have at least been out here, at the very least, on that target, depending on what happened when you were managing on that lower time frame. So we're looking for the same thing here on Uber, okay? Same idea off of that 3-1 setup. We'll look for the calls at 45.18, puts at 44.09. Again, guys, if you want the indicator, you can buy it separately, or it comes with the membership, okay? That's the other thing that I didn't mention before. The indicator comes with the membership. Otherwise, it's $25. You get it as a one-time fee. You get it for life. But for $50, you get that indicator. You get a one-on-one. You get the 1-hour strat course. You get a like I said, the one-on-ones with me through Google Meet. You get the top 5 setups from what we just went through here today. You're not going to find better value for that anywhere out there for somebody teaching the strat. You just won't. So good luck trading on Friday, guys. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I'm going to try to get that SPY trade out that I did today so you guys can see exactly what I did. Again, it was only 5 or 6 minutes. It wasn't long. I'm in and I'm out and I'm done for the day. And as I mentioned before, I'm not trading with $100. So, you know, if somebody maybe making a trade with $100, it's only $26. Maybe you're not done for the day. Maybe you want to take a trade, or maybe you should just take that $26. That's all up to you and your risk management. But as your account grows and as you grow as a trader and as you become more confident as a trader and your capital grows, like I said, those $100 trades, that capital that you put into the trade will eventually be able to be $1,000. And it's going to be a $260 day for you. And then it's going to be a $500 day for you. And then it's going to be a $750 day for you. And you're not going to get those every single day. Okay? But when you keep your losses small, those big wins, those $750 wins, those $250 wins far outweigh anything else. And there's no one out there that's going to be able to give you what the stock market gives you and what the strat gives you each and every day. Your job won't give this to you. Nothing. There's nothing that will pay you like the stock market will. But you need to be confident in the strategy, and you need to make sure you follow those rules and be confident in what you're doing with those rules. Okay? That's the video, guys. Again, good luck trading on Friday. I'll probably be around a little bit on Twitter tomorrow, just going through some trades and some setups. Same thing with the Discord. So make sure the Discord is free to join. Get signed up on there. Let's talk stock and talk strat. Good luck, and we'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye.